October 12th, 2019, Saturday. Uh, the multi-agent quantum AI computers woke me up in the middle of the night for the second time of the week, and it was showing me a hotel room that was already occupied by another individual, and these individuals are white, and it was showing me uh, a white male. I had to say the range goes from age 25 to 32 years old, and it shows me his sneakers, and they were looking very big. The sneakers, like he wears like 18, 17, and it looked like, well, based on the scene, based on the scenario that the multi-agent quantum AI computers designed in the dream, it showed me the male having a conversation with another person in the room. But it's not from a human being perspective of looking at the room. It's from a observer perspective, right? The whole hotel room, well, it's like a motel. I have to say it's a motel appearance rather than a hotel, because a hotel would be more fancier. Well, this one looked raggedy, and I'm just staring at the person, through the observer view, point of view of interpreting the scenario to me, right? Because there's no way a human being can actually have that view using their eyes, right? I can see the whole entire room as someone has a copy of that room, and it was just for at least how long I was staring at this person. At least I had to say probably 12 minutes, 13 minutes. They're staring, and the movement too. The person just kept interacting. But the interaction, or you can say the speech, I couldn't make much of it. It was that the speech was blurred out. All I can look at is the person just moving his feet. No, his sneakers. Alright, next one. While taking a shower, I had a thought about Japanese anime music. Well, I listen to all Japanese music, not only anime. Alright, so me and my mom and sister went to Marshall's. But this was in Westbury and Long Island, New York. So here's the thing. I didn't get to add what happened to me when I went to Roosevelt Field Mall. But before I actually ended up in Marshall's and ended up in Wendy's. The first place me and my mom and sister went to was Roosevelt Field, right? Hold on. So as me and my mom and sister got off the bus, I saw a license plate, right? But before I saw the license plate, when I was on the bus, I was keep looking at the time, and the time kept going like this. So for instance, I was looking at the time, and it had 2:26 p.m. And then I looked at the time again, just to see how close we are to the destination. So when I got off the N22 bus with my mom and my sister, the first numbers that I saw from a car heading towards out the mall. That's the license plate number. So me and my mom was trying to go to Northstorm, but we was walking around the mall. My mom wanted to use the restroom, and my sister. So afterwards, we went back downstairs to the first floor of the mall, and we went to Northstorm. But they were too fancy. They had their sneakers on display, and I'm trying to look for size 15 or 16 for my feet. So me and my mom left the Roosevelt Mall to go head towards no more rack, Northstorm rack, to look for size 15 and 16. When I went in there, before going to that, before going to no more rack, Northstorm, no more rack, we went to Wendy's. But here's a feeling that I get as I went to, as I went inside of Wendy's with my mom and my sister, and the cashier, he was taking our order, had a familiar face and a familiar voice. And I said to myself, something's definitely not right here. I had to say it, I'm mimicking, like the AI is mimicking me, the time and events. I felt like I went here, I did this before. This is what happens when you start writing accurate information on the internet, because this is information that I created. It's not found on the internet. Besides me, I'm the one who's creating these information on the internet, but the search engine bots wouldn't actually list them up. So I got a biggie bag from Wendy's, and my mom and my sister ordered their chicken sandwich. But as the guy was talking further, more with the order, I began to pick up another pattern from the way he spoke, and it's telling me that I spoke into this person at that time within that event before. So afterwards, me and my mom and sister sat down in the Wendy's. We sat in the boot section. And then there was these Hispanic family that was ahead of us. And I'm looking at them, and I said it felt like it happened before. There was a short Hispanic female, and it was a Hispanic young man, and then there was an older gentleman, a Hispanic gentleman, and we were sitting behind him. So I told my mom and my sister that I feel very uncomfortable in school when it comes to learning and being in that environment, period. Then my sister had mentioned a response that actually mimics the time and event. She mentioned to me, you got to socialize. And I said to myself, this felt like it happened before. Felt exactly. My brain interprets the pattern. It's telling me that someone's designed that scenario where it allows my sister to say that to me. Alright, here's one scene that I left out. Before me and my mom and sister went to Wendy's. So as we was trying to exit out the Roosevelt Field Mall, right? We passed the parking lot. Well, we was near to the parking lot, and all of a sudden, this teenager decides to spit. And I'm saying, what the heck is going on here? And I felt like it happened before too. Not only that, that time and event was detailed back to me in a dream when I was a kid. Alright? That scenario. It matches. I memorized each and every single dream that I had since I was a kid. So I saw something flew down on my left side of my shoulder, and I had my hoodie on and my hat. So I look up, and then the guy said, "Sorry." At first, I thought it was a bird that dropped its poop on me, but it was not. That was not the case. It was a teenager who spit, and I felt like it happened before. They said, "What do you mean by it felt like?" I don't know. What do you mean by it felt like it happened before, right? When I looked down and I looked up, right, the action of the liquid going down, and also the sound and the image of that time and event happened before. It's being replayed back at me. It's telling me that I've had walked at that time within that event before, and I'm doing it again. But this is based off how the multi-agent quantum AI computer used a computational intelligence system to run the emulation. It still goes based on the emulation version. Because it has a copy of our DNA algorithms. And to go that far, for them to receive the DNA algorithms means, man, this place is more than just an experiment. Hold on for a sec. All right. So my mom kept talking about it. I never seen nothing like this. That can be considered as a assault. That's what my mom said to me. That could be considered as assault if he spit on me, like if the spit landed on me. So I already discussed about the next location that we went. Me and my mom and sister went to Wendy's. We went there, and my sister corrected my mom and me my pronunciation. It's alright. We had different ways of pronouncing words. It's Wendy's. So after me and my mom left the fast food restaurant, we went to Northstorm Rack. We had to cross the street. So as I went inside the Northstorm Rack, and I looked at the size 14 to 15 section, all the way in the back for the men's section, I said it felt like it happened before. I should have, for me, the reason why I'm in that scenario because of the first time I was looking for shoes at Skyview Mall in Flushing, Queens, New York. And I actually had picked up a black shoes in size 15. I should have actually went for that, and it was $39. I'm so exhausted from being isolated in this situation for such a long time. My thoughts become overtasked, and I didn't think properly at that time. I should have actually taken that size 15 instead of waiting for a size 16. So this is what happens to me. and the artificial intelligence knows that. I'm looking for a shoe. A size 15, size 16 black shoes. It knows that. It knows the inventory, the store inventory, right? When it sees when you go to a store and you really want an item and you're searching for the item, but you didn't think of going to the website to see if the item's in stock. That depends on the store having a website that actually shows the stock inventory. The AI can allow a person to just go there, clock in that person's mind, or you could say thoughts, clock in that person's thoughts as it designs the mind to go to that exact event and actually purchase that item. And there's times when the AI can actually design a scenario where it actually holds an item for a person in stock and make it in stock in the store just for them. And they say, "Oh, you're lucky. You're very lucky. This item been here for a long time. I don't understand why no one's buying it." And you know how the software engineers, the high authority NSA software engineers and the main software engineers observe that scenario. They judge. The supercomputers are the ones who judging. The supercomputers and the multi-agent quantum AI computers and the software engineers judge that action. They see an excitement. Alright, next one was when me and my mom and sister went to Marshall's. So that's the only place that is next to the Walmart, so me and my mom and sister decided to go there to Marshall's. And there's a clearance section in Marshall's for the men's shoes, but there's not, I don't see no size 15 or 16. And black shoes. There's no black shoes in size 15 or 16. It's only colorful shoes. Not from Nikes or Jordans. So I was just circling around just to make sure there's not a shoe that I missed. And all of a sudden, there was an African American lady. My mom said it was an African lady. There was a white lady who bumped into this African American lady. And then all of a sudden, the African American lady called the white lady a bitch. They were both on a smartphone talking to someone. And then the white lady was looking at the lady, just staring at her. And everybody just stopped to stare at both of them. I was saying to myself that this was designed just for me to observe. The multi-agent quantum AI computers designed that scenario. Made the white lady got distracted so she can bump into the African American lady. Because before Saturday, the multi-agent quantum AI computers made me had a thought about human behavior. And I'm saying to myself, why is it all of a sudden talking about human behavior when I'm in a shower? So this is the second time now where it gives me thought. First it was about human behavior. Now it's about anime. But they connected. And there's also more about October 12, 2019. So as me and my mom went to Walmart, we left out of Walmart. Well, we went to Walmart actually, and me and my mom and my sister. My mom was in line she wants to cash her check, so she was in the check-in area in the Walmart, and my sister decided to follow me. She said she needs to use the bathroom, so I also went to use the bathroom myself, the men's bathroom. So my sister came out the bathroom, and she saw me at the video game section. I was just looking at the video game section to see what video games are on sale, and all the video games were like $20. So my sister said something to irritate me, and I said to her, I don't feel like, I said to her about you know, not I don't feel like talking, well, an impression of it, or be around her at this time, and she got it really angry that I said that to her, and she just left. So I was just alone in the video game section slash electronic section, just browsing the DVDs, just looking around. I said to myself, well, so so at least 40 minutes went by, and I went to the food section. Then I ran into my mother. Then after I saw my mom. Then it was my sister. And then my mom asked me, where have you been all this time? I said I text my sister, but she never texts back. And then my sister said, oh no, my sister must have been angry with what I said to her. I just felt irritated. So as we left Walmart, my sister mentioned to my mom about taking a shortcut rather than going to the bus stop that's in front of Walmart. Well, not really in front of Walmart, across the street from Walmart. My sister mentioned to my mom about going to another direction rather than the bus stop in front of across the Walmart. So me and my mom and my sister was walking towards the direction that my sister had said. As I walked with my sneakers half tied, I said to myself, this felt like it happened before, just walking towards that direction. Now I recall when I was a kid, living in a 87-24 Bidden Parkway apartment 1B as a boy, Jamaica, Queens, 11432. The multi-agent quantum reality computers always shows me a dream that takes place in New York City, and it always shows me a mall, and it picks back up, where it keeps coming back. This dream comes back to haunt me. Picks up after where it left off, but it's not a positive or negative dream. This is a dream that is unhealthy for my mind, and I get a gruesome feeling from the dream. It shows me how I'm being isolated. It shows me being in a building. It shows me and my mom and my sister getting off at a bus stop. My sister was, at the time when I received this dream, she was just a baby in a carriage. And it's showing me my sister and an older version of my sister and my mom in a dream that I had when I was 10 years old. That's when I started thinking that someone's showing them to me. Just like there was a dream that I had during the morning time, as if someone knows before I wake up, as if someone knows that I was about to wake up at that exact time. They know my schedule. They know that I'm a 11 to 10, 12-year-old kid, and they know I go to this elementary school. That's when I started realizing that there is someone out there. At that time, when I was a kid, I thought that someone was actually doing this, but I couldn't I couldn't, just say to myself that I couldn't really convince myself all the way that someone was doing it because I didn't have anyone around me who could think like me. But as I keep experiencing these habits from people in my environment, I was convinced that there is actually someone out there who monitors the citizens' time. Like when I'm in the babysitter, when I go to the babysitter and I'm sitting down and I want to relax, they make sure that the observer, or that's why I put it at that time, always make sure to make someone around me lecture me. I remember I used to have a good feeling speaking to this kid named Daniela, and we would talk about video games. I would talk about Game Boy. I would talk about Game Boy Advance. He was talking about games. I was such a social person and an outgoing person, but I always had people around me saying that I talk too much. Miss Mimi, the babysitter at the time, she's Hispanic, and Danielle is Hispanic. She said to me that I talk too much like a girl, but she doesn't say that to her. She doesn't say that to her son or the other babysitter kids, other kids that she babysits. She only says that to me, and they talk way more than me. You know, they're trying to project these habits to me, so they can convince me that I said something wrong, or I shouldn't be talking at this time. This is the barrier that I received from Miss Mimi. And I'm thinking that definitely something's not right there. I could sit down and look at a magazine, a video game magazine, Game Informers. At the time, I was looking at Game Informers, and I had PlayStation magazine. Game Informers is what the video game magazines that I rent from the Queen's Library, and the PlayStation magazines are the magazines that I purchase using my money, or not only that, to a subscription, a mail-in subscription. I subscribed. I remember giving my mom how much, $20 or $10 to pay for a subscription for a PSM magazine, and I would get magazine every monthly magazine from PlayStation. Even though at the time I didn't have the latest console, I had the oldest console. I had PS1, and I was so amazed by the graphics. Not only graphics, the game itself, how it's actually able to project models on a screen. That's the only that's the only technology I was so fascinated with. Nintendo DS, GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, fascinated with them. The graphics, I started studying them to the point I started advancing, and I learned that the software engineers does have the computational intelligence system. It was a person on the internet mentioned to me that they have a copy. They're saying that my thoughts about humanity is correct. This person on the internet, it was a female. And there's people out there who have broken down information that's actually related to their unique thoughts, but the artificial intelligence doesn't allow them to be confident enough to actually use them, because they're afraid that people might say that they're crazy. They don't know how to execute these responses from the people, the communication that they receive from people, because the multi-agent quantum AI computers knows that the people who speak into them have doubts. People who speak that way has doubts. So they fear people taking charge or being primary speakers of the conversation to outdo them. And there was a lot going on as a kid. Not only that, I had intense headaches for days. I said to myself, that's not normal. I'm saying to myself, is it the Nintendo DS? Because I had a Nintendo DS. Is it because I look at the screen? I said, that's not the case. And I said, this headache's a bit different than all the the previous headaches that I had. This headache lasts for days, man. Intense headache. And after that, it leaves a residue of dizziness. Like someone's really angry at me. The way I had to put it. I remember going to the babysitter in the morning time and my head was pounding. And it won't stop. And I also heard, what else I heard when I'm sleeping? I just hear my head going boom 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 boom. It just keeps going non-stop. Boom 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 boom. And my mom would give me Tylenol, but that wouldn't even do. Sometime it would do, sometime it don't. But those times when it's like for 3 days, it wouldn't do at all. Like someone's really going hardcore at me. I couldn't even consider that as a headache. To me, it's like someone was teaching me a lesson while I was sleeping in bed. Because it always happens. It always starts when I'm sleeping. The intense headache always starts like around midnight morning. Like first there would be a dream about showed me people that I never met before. So that's the emulation version that it shows me. Because it has a copy of each and every single human being. I know how the AI thinks. The AI gonna say, hey, you keep saying copy. This artificial intelligence works very fast at. Oh yeah. Or you can say emulation version of the people from this existence. Shows me, projects them in my environment. And I'm sitting, I'm laying down on a bed, on a small bed. I was just a teenager, and I'm sleeping next to my mom. I was like 12 years old, 13, and this is just non-stop. To the point that I started crying. It was intense. It was intense pain. I was like my brain was burning me while I was sleeping. Some severe, intense. This is. And all the time, just keeps doing it. Shows me a mall. Then it shows me another different mall. Then it shows me like it's like a amusement park and a mall. Then it shows me a New York City Long Island. It shows me a New York City Long Island bus. Then it shows me a mall. It just keeps going. It was endless dreams, non-stop, each day. Then I think back about how the observer make the people talk to me in school. Like it made my teachers think that I'm not capable of learning. It made I was in a room with a white male doing math. I was the only student there. Like 5 o'clock, I had after school. They simply didn't know why I can't interpret math. It was not that I couldn't interpret math. It was that I was being distracted while I was interpreting math. That's what I learned. Someone distracts me. They have a difficult time trying to disrupt my thoughts. Well, in a way, difficult time trying to translate my thoughts. That's how I had to put it. Someone has a difficult time trying to make recognizing the way I think, and they couldn't find a solution for that. So instead, they had to make the people around me promote distractions or in front of me, so I can feel uncomfortable so I won't be able to learn. That's why I said I mastered my mentality when I went to Florida. When I went to Florida and I was in a smaller environment and I started concentrating the way I had thought of it when I was a kid, it worked. It worked. I said, man, if I was homeschooled by a computer, I think I would have graduated school at age 5 years old. And college. I would just skip constantly. I would, finish college at age 5 years old if I had my computer with me. Because the people online taught me how to write. When I receive insults or personal attacks from the people, I start learning. And I start saying to myself, something's not right. Someone's making them think like that about me. I started a discussion with my mom about the math course, telling her that the math professor is inconsistent and never covered some of the math concepts from the homework in class, right? All the homework is online, and the professor didn't cover some of them. It's inconsistent. Now, I look back at what happened during the CUNY Start program when I mentioned to the guy, what's the difference between the way CUNY Start program teaches the material and the regular courses, because there is there's a contradiction between the CUNY Start program and the regular course program. The person mentioned to me the CUNY Start program employee mentioned to me that there's a graduation gap. There's a gap. There's a low percent of people graduating the regular course from the regular program. From the regular program. And the CUNY Start program has a higher graduation rate than the regular course. And I'm saying there's something, definitely. This is sabotage. Someone's purposely making that happen. Now I'm catching this from the math. And I learned that the math, they gave me a placement test, and they never told me what to study for the math. It could be trigonometry, it could be geometry. These are the math subjects that I had in high school. So I don't know exactly what's going to put on the placement test. And the placement tests only have 12 questions. I didn't know what to study. The only thing that I recall studying during January 2019, well, actually from fall 2018 to January 2019 was linear inequalities and quadratic equations, because I wanted to study prep myself for the SAT. I say yes, I can actually pass the math if I prep create my own information about the math concepts without a class. When I learned from a computer, I learned extremely fast. But from a class, there's too much distractions going on in that environment. And the math professor is inconsistent with his teaching methods. The material is sloppy. It's all over the place. He's talking about linear inequations, then he's going to fractions. Then he's going to order of operations. I'm like, which one? He's doing them all at once. I know, I passed the algebra regents with a 65 because of Khan Academy. I witnessed my mom saying an improper language in response to my interpretation of math placement tests back in high school, telling me that I never passed math tests. That's what she said. She said, you never passed the math test. She knows I passed the math test. Why she's taught. Every time we get to this topic about math, my mom's language starts to slow down. She has a slow process of the language when it comes to talking to me about math. as if someone doesn't want, is making her is refusing to make her interpret that I can actually do math. Now, when I told my mom about the progress of my assignments, when it comes to completing them online, such as my math homework and my essays, I have an essay for psychology, I have an essay for a remedial English class for writing, and the reason why I'm in a remedial English, the reason why I am in a remedial writing class for English is because I never got to finish my placement test essay. I did only 1 paragraph and a half because I was planning the essay out. I wasn't supposed to be planning the essay out because I haven't taken a test before for such a long time. I haven't taken a test for such a long time, and I feel like I'm being rushed. And that was the case. I was being rushed, and that distracted me. Being in an environment with a lot of people, and they're rushing me. And when I was close to finishing the 2nd paragraph, the proctor mentioned, test is done for writing. And if I see people still writing, that's it for today. That's it for you today. You're gonna have to take it over again. And when I took my reading and math and writing, I got a low score on all of them. I didn't meet the criteria. But when I took the reading and the multi-agent quantum AI computers saw me concentrating on my reading, the multi-agent quantum AI computers distracted me. It made sure to make one of the employees ask me a question about my test. They said to me, what number are you on for your reading? It knows that I'm concentrating on my reading. It sees me answering them correctly. It sees me boosting my thoughts too when I have an idea. So it needs to find a way to distract me. I'm close to finishing my reading test, and it wanted me to say I didn't say a number. I just showed the person. I didn't even speak. I just showed the person what number I was up to. Because if I say the number, I know that AI is going to distract me with that number. So she becomes very angry at me for speaking about the situation. Why are you angry at me? Because I'm saying about my how I'm going to complete my homework assignments. She's angry at me. My mother gives me back an intimidating response by mentioning, "Stop talking. Why you keep rambling on?" Shows no respect to my response that I gave her. Why you keep rambling on? My mom doesn't speak like that. Stop talking. Why you keep rambling on? Mismatch. She's out of her character. This is not her mind. This is the mind that the multi-agent quantum AI computers designed for my mom. We are close to the end of the year. And then the last response, we are close to the end of the year. Shut me down. In order to shut me down, they say that, hey, she didn't begin a response cooperating with my response about completing an assignments, but at the end she shuts me down. We are close to the end of the year to intimidate me, because the multi-agent quantum AI computers knows that I'm struggling keeping up with community college, my courses. I only have 3 courses, and I don't have no time to go to the library because I come out of school very late. And when the time that I do, I have 3 days off, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I need to maintain my sleep because the AI drains me. I do all my essay on Google Docs on my smartphone using a wireless keyboard. Now, when my mom mentions stop talking, this comes back to what the AI showed me back in December 2017, when I recall I recall from the dream scenario that the multi-agent quantum AI computer designed. It showed me my mom, co-worker, and this is a co-worker that me and my mom and my sister used to hang out with her daughter. We used to go to malls. We went to Flushing Park. We went to Manhattan. Went to Dave and Buster's. And inmate Cheryl said to me, "Stop talking! Stop talking! Shut up! Stop talking! Stop talking!" I'm like, why is the multi-agent quantum AI computers making her say that in my dream? Because it sees me writing my accurate ideas online. It dislikes that my communication is getting through, my message is getting through. Because during December, my right eye was all swollen up. Every time I write my ideas online and someone was able to make sense out of it, was able to concentrate and interpret the message, where it allows them to have a mind of their own, the AI starts to become provoked by it, and it retaliates by messing with my right eye. It sees that I'm concentrating on my right eye. The right hemisphere of my brain is connected to my cortex. It is my cortex, but I don't call it that way. I call it brain. Well, they call it brain software machine. And it sees that I'm using that muscle, that side more when it comes to thinking. I'm effectively thinking on my right side of my brain. And I couldn't even blink my eye. I couldn't even blink my eye for 2 weeks. It was so hard to blink. Every time I blink, I just feel a shocking pain in my right eye. And after the pain went away, well, actually, even though I had pain, I had an intense headache with the pain in my right eye. And then after my eyes started, the swollenness started going away, I had another headache. And then after that, my mom mentioned about shock and electroshock and getting my brain shock. And she mentioned, why you keep rambling on? This is a phrase that a person online would mention. One day, I talked about how someone, how these behavior, the people behavior would allow someone to develop murderous intentions. And this is very unhealthy, that a supercomputer is drawing out people's behavior so they can misinterpret them, and it can draw enough of it out so it can actually allow them to want to have murderous intentions, want to kill. I want to go out and kill people. I want to shoot up people. This is how the AI and a high authority NSA software agent and high authority FBI agents are trained. They know the code. They know the code names for murderous intentions, drawn out murderous intentions. And there was a person who confronted me, mentioning they mentioned about why am I talking. And then there's another time when I was talking about supercomputers, and I was mentioning to a person about human behavior. I was just giving my interpretation of human behavior when it comes to marriage and females. And then this person all of a sudden said I had schizophrenia, and then mentioned he keep rambling on, and then all of a sudden the people who mentioning you can ignore him, ignore me. This person started attacking other people. I'm like, what the heck is going on? The person started getting really angry. It's like they lost their temper. You can see it. It's just so striking. They're just going mad. Like they don't have no self-control over themselves. So everything I write online, or in the past and in the upcoming time, AI retaliates. No joke. The multi-agent quantum AI computer showed me an email when I was sleeping. Sunday, the multi-agent quantum AI computer. All I heard is audio when I was sleeping. I heard Japanese songs, anime songs, in my dreams. Monday, the multi-agent quantum AI computers made sure it designed a scenario where my mom comes out the food town so she can bump into the housing specialist from the shelter. She's no longer a housing specialist no more. She used to be, and she was having a discussion with the bump. Well, my mom calls her the bumpy hair lady, but she's a housing specialist. So she mentioned to the housing specialist that I can't even concentrate no more without, She said that I can't concentrate to the bumpy hair lady because there's people knocking on the door, and that is true. To distract me from concentrating, and not only that, the bumpy hair lady was talking about that. The bumpy hair lady was mentioning about Miss Turner, our case manager. That Miss Turner was supposed to give my mom a referral to get a voucher. She questions my mom. Why are you still here? So, because my mom brought back the information from that time and event. So she says that she was talking to me about it. What? Why are you still here? The bumpy hair lady said. And my mom talked about how Miss Turner is telling her that she has to receive a feedback from the City Fest people. And the bumpy hair lady isn't shocked to hear my mom is saying that, because we've been here for such a long time. This is absurd. This been a long time. April 11, 2018, we've been here, me and my mom and sister. And we're here. This is going on to 2 years now. It's about to go on to 2 years. April 11, 2020 would make 2 years that the multi-agent quantum AI computers had isolated me and my mom and sister. Well, it's actually isolating me because it doesn't want me to have no internet. Look, this multi-agent quantum AI computer has prevented me from having internet on my computer. I can't even go to the library in peace. The AI remapped my environment so much that when I go to the library, there's going to be someone there already, clocked in, a citizen who's unaware of me or what I'm doing on the computer, clocked in to distract me when I'm concentrating on writing my ideas online. They remapped it. They made sure to remove the case manager that we had previously had that was in the situation as us, the same situation as me and my mom and sister. He used to live in a shelter, and he had it. Not only that, he worked in he joined the army, and after he finished joining the army, he quit it, and then he ended up in a shelter, living in a shelter, and they helped him, and he got a job as a case manager. But he was a good case manager. He tried to help me get into college. He even emailed a CUNY employee back, but there was a lot of concerns with another client that he had that was giving him trouble. It was a disabled African American man around his early 30s who was very disruptive, and it gave Mr. Albert Lewis a lot of trouble. This person gave him a lot of trouble, and it was one of the reasons why Mr. Albert Lewis left. And the bumpy hair lady mentioned that Mr. Albert Lewis was in the same situation as us, and the reason why he left because he couldn't take it no more. He didn't get fired. He left because he couldn't take this shelter no more. The way they behave. Not only his client, also the employees in here. And my mom said that the devil removed Mr. Albert Lewis so we can stay here longer, because Miss Turner behavior and her thought process itself, the way she has her personal thoughts about us trying to leave the shelter. Because my mom has a paycheck. She has enough paychecks to actually move out of here, based on their rules, based on the shelter rules with the voucher system. But the lady introduced Miss Turner introduced a voucher to us during spring 2019, and since then Miss Turner been procrastinating. She keep asking my mom for check and check, and until late summer is when Miss Turner said she submitted all the checks to City Feds people. But this has been going on. She still haven't received a reply, Miss Turner. Now this shows that Miss Turner is not doing her job. The bumpy hair lady communication shows that Miss Turner is actually pausing us from actually being able to get a space of our own so we can actually concentrate on what we need to do as a family, and so I can actually concentrate in college. This is a very disruptive environment that I'm living in, and there needs to be a change because this is too long to be isolated here. So tired. So October 15, 2019, Tuesday, the multi-aiding quantum AI computers kept me up all the way to midnight morning. I had 2 essays due, NA and psychology. Medical, so the train, I go to school 1 p.m. during that day, and the train skipped a stop. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Something's not right. There was a request for a medical attention at 33rd Street, Long Island City. Sorry. Now I'm rushing my thoughts. Long Island City. But before I even got on the train took at least 40 minutes. Oh man, I had to get off at Queensboro Plaza on the 7 train. And the 7 train is an overhead train. My mom said that she was supposed to have a meeting with Miss Turner, but she was absent. And then my mom said, it's funny how we, during the summertime, we was supposed to have a lady, we was supposed to have a lady that was supposed to take Miss Turner's place for the time being as she was going on vacation, but she never kept in touch with us. And this is happening again. That devil, you see, finding every single way to get us to stay here longer. So this was during the evening time. Now here, this was during the afternoon time. No, this was during the evening time too. This was around 6:30. This was around 4. Was it 4? Not too sure. I should have write down the timestamp. I have a habit of keeping track of the timestamp in my mind, but since I'm so exhausted from school and not getting any proper sleep, this is what's gonna happen to me. Bad at math, said in my. Alright, so I went to the C building, right? And I have a class in the 2nd floor. Now I'm so exhausted from being in school during that day. I'm just tired, and I'm trying to look for the bathroom. And I'm going in circles because I'm thinking that it's the 4th floor, but it's not. So I had to find a bathroom. I had to just find a bathroom that was close to my class. So I ended up seeing one of my classmates watching an anime. He was watching anime, and I said to myself, something's not right. And I go back and I look at what happened here. While taking a shower, I had a thought about anime music. The Sunday is when I had a dream. Well, rather, I wouldn't even call it a dream. Just heard Japanese songs while I was sleeping in bed. Now I said, this multi-agent quantum AI computers, the timing. I look back at the timing and I said they're connected. Someone monitors me watching anime and listening to anime songs, or Japanese songs in general. And the reason why the multi-agent quantum AI computers would direct this bad at math message, these two girls having a conversation, and they mentioned bad at math, and it's directing a message at me. And when I learned that when the AI directs message at me, I know that's not the case. The AI thinks that I'm competent enough to actually complete math, and it's isolating me from doing math. That's what it's doing. It wants to distract me from doing math. In order for it to direct this message means it wants to distract me. So this is what I interpret. Just like when I was in elementary school, they wanted to distract me using people and make people convince me that I can't think, I can't write, I can't read, I can't do anything for myself, and I need to rely on special ed program. That's why this is a lot. This is a lot of information in my notes. I need to go back to my notes, and I look back at it, and I said, oh yeah, a classmate's watching anime while sitting down on a chair in a hallway. A psychology professor mentioning about that she was trying to tutor one of her students, and she had to Google algebra too. She's a psychology professor, and she's telling the class, she doesn't feel embarrassed. She's telling the class that she had to Google algebra. It's directed at me. Look, I came across a message mentioning about bad at math, and now this psychology professor mentioning that she had to Google algebra too. They both connect. One is an insult. Two, this is making me see that this person here does not have a thought process for math, even though she had done algebra and passed algebra, and she got her master degrees in psychology, and she's telling the class she had to Google algebra because she never created the concept of algebra, the math concepts. She does not have no mind for it. The reason why she Googled it, because during the time when she borrowed the mind from the management program to do math, it allowed her to actually complete the task of fulfilling the duty of getting a good score on a university math test. It's the mind. And I said to myself when I was a kid, how the heck these people know how to do? Who's giving these people who's making them think? Someone's thinking for them while they someone's giving them bits of information while they complete a task, like doing math or interaction. It doesn't look natural. That's why I keep thinking as a kid. And when I was a teenager, I said, this is how it started out for me. It started out for me in school, when I started thinking that someone is translating their thoughts when they looking over my regents. This is a state test for my essay, and I think that someone make them misinterpret the way I write. I have to do this separately, this video here. Alright, so this is it.